What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Lead Houston, where it's all Houston all the time. Today, we are asking ourselves, can the Houston Texans win the Super Bowl? If you don't want to hear it from me, we're going to be reacting to Albert Breer, who picked the Houston Texans to win the Super Bowl. Okay, he picked them to most likely be a Super Bowl contender in 2025, a surprise contender. Okay, let me get that caveat in there. Albert Breer, a little bit background on him. He worked for the Boston Globe before. He's an NFL insider. But specifically the Boston Globe stuff, he knows Nick Caserio. He knows the New England Patriots. He has confidence in Nick Caserio. He has confidence in Nick Caley because he knows him as well. He knows Cole Popovich. So there is a small amount of bias here, but he does give his good reasons as to why he has the Texans, our Houston Texans, as a surprise Super Bowl contender. And as a fan, you can't just get giddy. You got to get hyped when you talk about this because, god damn, this is some good stuff to hear from somebody. And look, the Houston Texans, as y'all know, they aren't the darlings this year. They aren't the belle of the ball this year like last year with all the national media hype. It is different here, and the Texans seem to be kind of the team that is a little bit underdog-ish if they were going to find their way into an AFC championship game at the very least. They feel very much under the radar when it comes to those conversations and contenders. So we'll see how this goes. Let's go ahead and get what Albert Breer is talking about. It's a good 3-minute clip, so hang in there with me, guys. Let's go hear what Albert Breer has to say.
I'm going to give you the Houston Texans as a potential Super Bowl contender. And I see it this way for a couple of reasons. Number one, they've got a young rising defense. They've got multiple franchise players in that group, right? Like legit franchise players, like guys like Will Anderson and Derek Stingley. They've got like pieces around those guys like Jalen Petrie and obviously Danielle Hunter. They've got a defensive head coach. They've got, to me, a wealth of young talent, a wealth of rising young talent. They've got an identity and attitude and a culture on defense. And now they're undergoing a lot of change on offense because they're trying to match the culture that they have on defense on offense. And that's part of why they trade Laremy Tunsil. They're trying to change the culture in the offensive line room. And they've taken multiple shots at trying to replace Laremy Tunsil and bringing in Cam Robinson and Trent Brown and Aracey drafting him out of Minnesota. And you have Titus Howard back. So you have to get the tackle position right. You have to firm up the interior positions. But at the skill positions, you got CJ Stroud at quarterback. You got Nico Collins. You lose Stephon Diggs. You don't know when you're getting Tank Dell back, but you got Christian Kirk coming in, and you spent 2 high-end draft picks on Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel to be your young complementary pieces. You still have Joe Mixon. You still have Dalton Schultz. I think it's got a chance to be a really good team. Like I think it's got a chance to be to elevate if they can elevate on offense. You also have a young offensive coordinator coming in and Nick Caley to replace Bobby Slowick. Caley has experience in the Patriots system working under Josh McDaniels. He also worked with the Rams last year and is, again, like a rising young assistant, was really highly regarded by Sean McVay. Got a promotion from 23 to 24. And so there's a lot there. Like, again, you've got this great young defense. You've got a real culture and identity on defense. And now you're trying to fix your offense, and you're doing it with CJ Stroud as your quarterback. CJ Stroud has played really well, who went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. They went into the fourth quarter of that playoff game down by 1 point against the 3-time AFC champion, the 3-time defending AFC champ or reigning AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. I just look at like where they are, and I look at where they are defensively, and I look at what they've got offensively and the bones of the offense that Nick Caley is going to be putting in.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Albert Breer talking about the Houston Texans. And I wrote down some bullet points to get the ideas all together on why Albert Breer believes this Houston Texans team can surprise some teams in 2025 and how they could be a Super Bowl contender. Right away, he talked about them having a young defense. He talked about having franchise players on that defense, a defensive head coach in DeMeco Ryans. He talked about a wealth of rising young talent. He highlighted guys like Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, Jalen Petrie, excuse me. And then he talked about changing the offensive line culture. Now, that's the biggest thing. It's the hard reason for a lot of Texans fans to have some hope is because of the offensive line. But they are changing the culture. He talked about them getting rid of Laramie Tunsil and trying to influx some talent in there and getting a Cam Robinson, trying to solidify the tackles and then work their way into the interior. The Texans did a whole lot, and he also mentioned about replacing Bobby Slowick with Nick Caley, somebody that he mentioned was a high-rising offensive coordinator and somebody Sean McVay had even promoted in his own system. So there you have it. You got some pieces here already. You got skill positions, as he said, CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, mentioned Christian Kirk, the two rookie wide receivers, Dalton Schultz and Joe Mixon. Overall, the Houston Texans have the structural integrity of a damn good roster. They have the bones. They have everything built to actually compete with the Ravens and the Bills and the Chiefs of the AFC. And he did mention you were only down a point against that Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City on the road with a bad O-line, with bad weather. The Houston Texans were still in that game in the playoffs and were just a few, who knows, ref calls and plays away from actually upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Houston Texans could be a whole lot closer than what we originally think. And what do y'all think? Do the Houston Texans, can they make the playoffs? Do they have what it takes? Ultimately, we got to know that Nick Caley and this O-line, they just have to be at the very least average. That's all I'm asking for because the defense is so freaking good. The defense is going to be a top 5, top 3 defense. If you give me an average offensive line with a year 3 leap of CJ Stroud, because year 3 quarterback leaps have happened everywhere. Albert Breer is predicting the Houston Texans to be the surprise team in 2025 to contend for a Super Bowl. Let's go ahead and make those words happen. Let me know down in the comment section, how do you feel about the video? How do you feel about Albert Breer's comments? Do you think the Houston Texans are Super Bowl contenders in 2025? Let me know down in the comment section. You know I'll reply. As always, guys, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. You have a blessed day.